of God, He to rescue me from danger, interposes precious blood. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily am constrained to be. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind me closer still to thee. Bound to wander, Lord, I feel it. Bound to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it. Seal it for thy courts above. Amen. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Ella Moncrief. So we're back again. The last time we met, we were looking at the topic of activities with elements of competition. You recall? Anybody recall? Yes, activities with elements of competition. We've always, Sister Loy, had a concern with competition when it comes to church. And we started a few weeks ago to look at how does the church relate to this type of activity. And there are some guidelines that we looked at. This cannot be exhausted in one session, as you recall the last time when we were looking at it, because it gives a number of things that we looked at. But we want to, again, just, if we can close off what we had started some time ago. And this part has to do with church-sponsored activity with elements of competition. Church-sponsored activities with elements of competition. Now, competition have some very, very negative spin-offs. Rivalry, fights, quarrels. I remember when I used to go to high school, and even to all age to school, then they call it. And we had the district association sports. That is among the all age schools, and it would have been held around Swift Purcell. That time Swift Purcell was in its swing, or a Cyril. And you can be well assured there was intense rivalry. I think Highgate all age then was the creme de la creme. Cream of the crop, the top school. And there was stiff competition and rivalry around here, and fights used to break out inevitably. As a matter of fact, whenever I gave primary activity. So we're going to look at church-sponsored activities with elements of competition. Now, standards of achievement and pressure resulting, therefore shall not be confused with destructive rivalry. So, standard of achievement. All right, so for example, in our schools, for example, you know that if you get an 80, then this is that. If you get a 90, so and so. Yes, that's a standard. It must not be confused with destructive rivalry. All right? It is recognized that in all areas of church activity, there may be standards of achievement set by the organization and controlling committee. So maybe the church board or so. The above guidelines shall be applied to all activities and programs of a church, conference, institution, such as the following. So, here are some guidelines that we looked at. We looked at specific exposure to commercialized, highly competitive activities should not be encouraged. So don't encourage the members to participate in activities that are highly commercialized. And so people are going to be making money from it. So you're encouraging. Because sometimes the member or the individual who participate, just because of their participation, the person who organizes the music for the competition, the person who do the decoration, the person who can provide sound and the juice and so on. It's a big thing to make money. And sometimes when you enter these highly commercialized things, it can cause some serious repercussions. So these guidelines, we're encouraged not to encourage our members to participate in that. Secondly, satisfying alternative activities which avoid unwholesome competition involvement shall be sought. So activities that are wholesome, we should encourage people to participate in those. In the development of incentives, I'm just recapping, for individual actions, participation, and personal advancement in the work of a church, the program shall be so structured that individuals will relate to standards of performance rather than to systems which involve interpersonal, interchurch, and institutional rivalry. So, I recall Clermont Church versus Louis Store and so on. Sometimes when you used to have a football matches and so on, some people get very, uptight. So when we're organizing football, for example, between churches, it must be emphasized that the objective of the activity is for social interaction, rather than to say we win and you lose. So you're organizing a football match between Louis and Clermont, not because you want Clermont to come out on top, but you want to bring what? An association with you want to provide an avenue where the youth from the different churches can mix and mingle. Because I'll tell you, sometimes the socialization comes just by bringing the youth to Louis' story together, More than half of who got interested in the football match, But the fact that they can get an opportunity to associate with other persons. So what is it saying that when we're organizing these activities, our main focus should not be winning and losing, but to provide an outlet for people to interact. All right, so it's very important. I will go through some of these. Now we did go through some of these the last time. It says, while giving recognition to efforts or achievements of individuals or group, it is important that it shall be done in such a manner as to give God the glory for the success of the endeavor, rather than to foster glorification of individuals. It's very important. Even when you're done, crusade finish, you do not want to talk about one person and the achievement of one person over the other person, because a crusade cannot run without the man who clean up the ground, the person attending to the bathroom. Just to give a few examples, the person who set up the equipment. So we should not seek to elevate one person over another, because that will cause challenges and not God. But last night I had a hand up. Yes. Yes. Yes, and you're making a very good point there, Brother Lawson, because that is why, for example, we say that there are persons who are not Adventists that can participate in our activities. However, those persons must be persons who are regular visitors to the Sabbath school or associate AY members who are aware of the principles. So in time past, and maybe Sister Cyrilla can remember, there are times when we used to have these competitions, so to speak, like the sports day thing. And people would go out of their way to get some professional runners and professional footballers, Sister Paula, to come to play because that church want to win or that federation want to win. And what happens in some cases, we found that there were people cursing bad word in the Adventist program. Right? Because some people are not familiar with our concept of what we're doing. We are bringing together for socialization. People are bringing people together for to glorify self and to see who is the best. So this is very important that we acknowledge this. In recognizing achievement, consideration shall be given to improving the recipient's efficiency and effectiveness in the work of the Lord. When recognizing people, it says we must consider improving people's efficiency. All right? Don't try it, yes. Now, let me just state this one because this one is important. Whoever at Sabbath school, when the child school teacher asking you how many people you helped, food basket given out. Now, a number of people have a little challenge, how much money you give out. But and people might say, boy, why you want to know that, and so on and so forth. Now listen to this. Statistical reporting involving growth in membership or financial matters shall be used to encourage good work and not as a tool extensive of rivalrous attitudes which are created to facilitate the efficiency of the organization. So, when we're asking for this, you want to know how the work is progressing. Right? Now, sometimes when you are reporting, for example, the tithe report, in Clermont does very well and always does well in tithing, for example. You might find the pastor or the elder feeling a little proud because we should not use that to hit down on the other district to say they're not doing anything. It is purely for information and to help us to know what is happening so that we can, whether we need to improve our activities or whatever it is. So it's very important that we bear this in mind, all right, as it comes to that. So we shouldn't use this as a competitive thing. Any activity that restricts potential success to the few shall be discouraged. That's the last one I'm going to touch now. Any activity in the church, Brother Lawson, that restrict potential success to the few shall be A, discontinued, or B, be limited to temporary combination in recreational settings, or be used as a necessary aid to help identify basic skills needed for entry into a particular profession. So, for example, if you're giving a test, for argument's sake, to find out who can preach. So you get the people up here, and you say, all right, we're going to put up Brother Cirilo, Brother Mark, Brother Lawson, Brother Hamill, and so on, and we're going to allow them to preach a sermon. That is not the general church. It's a you have to think about this very, very carefully. Those of us who call on people to participate in the church must be mindful of the fact that the platform going up there should not just be restricted to a few people. I'm not going to say if somebody, the person not, in terms of a living and not living right, you should just throw everybody up there. But we must ensure that any activity we carry out caters for the general church rather than to zero in on a few little people. So we don't want to have that. So let's go quickly now. Church-sponsored activity with elements of competition. So, Sister Brown, campaign. Let me touch this now. Standard of achievement and pressure resulting, therefore, shall not be confused with destructive rivalry. So it is recognized that in all areas of church activity, there may be standards of achievement set by the organization and controlling committee. So those guidelines that we mentioned before, they must be used at all times. Now, if you're organizing a campaign, you must bear in mind that it mustn't just restrict a few people to participate and exclude others. That's what we're saying. 2, let us, here I give some very interesting. Contest, college bowl, pathfinder, oratorial, Bible quiz, debates. So let's zero in on Bible quiz. When you organize a Bible quiz, the Bible quiz must not just zero in on a few people. And if you have 50 people participating in the Bible quiz, Brother Lawson, all those 50 people must be awarded based on their participation. Absolutely important. So you don't say, all right, no drop out, so no gone. No drop out, so no gone. No drop out, so no gone. And then you come down to 6 people. And those are the 6 people that you reward. So all the other persons who participated, pay bus fare, come and spend time studying, they are not recognized. Only the 4 people that it come down to are recognized. So if you're having a thing like that, and it involves different stages, at every single stage, the people who participate must be given a recognition. So if 50 people you start with, and at the end of the day, 25 left, those are the 25 who didn't come out with a certain grade, they must be awarded. Very important that we are rewarded. So grading system. Let's look at our schools, therefore. Sister Brown is here. Grading system. If you're grading people, people must not be get a grade based on the fact that Brother Mark lose. So here's a system that some people have. That if Brother Mark gets 80 and everybody else gets below 80, then that 80 must be used to judge everybody else. There must be a standard that is there, and everybody will be graded according to the standard. Not because Brother Mark gets something high, then we judge everybody from that. So the standard is set, and then we judge based on the standard, not on what individual does. So if Brother Mark go up there and sing anything nice, everybody who come afterwards, if they do well like Brother Mark, then they are Brother Mark becomes the standard. And so, once he's the standard, anybody that is going to participate, they must come near to Brother Mark. If they don't come near to him, then they can't sing. Now that is not the way the thing should go. Or so it's important that we looked at that. Now let's run quickly now. Talk about the football business now. Or the activities that involve physical activity. Let's go now, Sister Brown. This is your part. Inter-school sports. Seventh-day Adventist Church is opposed to inter-school. Listen to this now. Listen to this now. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is opposed to inter-school league, played commonly known as the varsity athletics, in its educational system. The major rationale for this is rational. Let me go again now. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is opposed to inter-school league, played in its educational system. Inter-school league, played in its educational system. Now, why do we have a challenge with inter-school leagues? What could be wrong with that? You know, it's a football league between schools. What is wrong with that? Why would Seventh-day Adventists be opposed to that? Give me your feedback. Eh? Yes, leagues. Indiscipline of others, all right? Yes. Aha. All right. So what we're saying now, let us say, for example, there's a football league with the schools in St. Mary. Right? And we would not support our schools joining these athletic leagues and these football leagues. That's what we're saying. And I'm asking why. I heard some things being said now. Why would we opposed to this type of thing, Sister Reed? That we don't involve in they have the Costa Cup thing, and they have one cricket competition, and they have some basketball competition that they are running and they have a district association thing with the schools across St. Mary. An athletic league, for example, where you go from one place to the next, and you meet you go to the district level, and then you go to the parish level, and you have this big. Now, why are Seventh-day Adventists opposed to us participating in this type of activity? Now, I heard Brother Cyril was saying something. So go ahead, Sister Reed, then I'll go back to you. So, behavior. So, Sister Reed says what? All right, so Sister Reed is down there saying the behavior. Yes. In discipline, certain behavior, Brother Lawson, yes? Okay, so the language that is used, or see if you can come a little close to the mic when you're talking or so. The kind of language that is used is one thing that challenges us and cannot also bring us into disrepute. So we don't join these leagues. We're not supportive of joining these type of inter-school leagues, college boards. Yes, sir, bro. Yes. Yes. Per se, and bringing case they are not the winners per se. It highlights the wins more than the developmental process of the students. Yes. Or the children who participate. And as a church, we don't want to get caught up in that because the truth is, we talk about a holistic educational program, and while we cater to the students' physical needs, developmental needs, and nothing is wrong with a student and another student engage in games, and yes. It must be the developmental process of the student that encourages students in a positive light. That when they leave that competition, none of them feel like they did not achieve. Yes, yes. That's important. Well, last, you were saying something? This is severe. So yes, I was asking why we don't join these. And Sister Brown aptly mentioned that it probably in another cases, a lot of cases when the students or children come away from this competition, they feel belittled. Make them worse than where they started, and some people go away bitter. Brother Lawson, you were saying?
I've said what I...
Okay, thank you. So, it says here that the hazard of competition, competitive rivalry, has the potential to be exaggerated in inter-organizational events. So the competition, the rivalry that comes with it, to the point that people, because they want to win, and winning is focused on so much that it causes a lot of challenge.
Yeah, as you said that, Brother Scott, I remember going to Clonmel All Age when we had the first sports we have before day. What do you call that one? Where they have the houses and then from there they choose the day.
Man. Yeah, house
when we have
inter-school sports.
Yeah, when we have the inter-school sports. When you're on inter-house, when you're having the competition going on. Yeah. What I've seen happening while I was on the track, other persons running next to you because they know you're fast, they will trip you.
Yes.
Just to win before you.
Yes.
And these things also happens at the DA sport. Because you don't have camera seeing all when you're going around that long stretch.
Yes.
So I've seen it where people just set their foot just to spit you, drop you over. Yes. So after that is what caused those fights. We have serious war after that.
All right. Thank you very much. Now watch this one. Brother Cirilo was moving. You're saying something, Brother Lawson. Brother Cirilo was moving towards this one. Yeah, go ahead.
If Brother Nick was here, is that he coming? Yes. I'll wait till he comes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brother
Brother Nick was a part of the Neighborhood Watch and Citizens Association over there.
Yes.
And he was doing missionary work.
Use the mic, yes.
He was doing missionary work while he was there. And he managed to get a couple of his brethren over there to baptize in the church.
Yes.
One of, who are they, Brother Nick? The one that is a soldier. No, you brought him into the church. And who else? So sometimes we have to do things in the neighborhood, was to get them. You know that we spend a lot of money to establish a sports club for them, but the behavior of them, the school had to show them out.
Yes.
And we could hear all the languages that they're using when they're playing over there.
Yes. All right, yes. So remember now, we as Adventists, when you participate in those type of competition, you have no control over the people's behavior. And once you kind of have a certain amount of control, then you're going to run in trouble. But here's another thing that is mentioned why we don't encourage our schools to participate in these competitions. Hear this one. The commitment of time. Now, these activities call for a certain amount of time that is going to take away from the children. Let me give an example. Do you know that you see the sports running in schools in Jamaica, the football and the cricket? Some of these students end up losing a lot of their time for academic work. Because they are committed to this. So sometimes when they have to be in school, they have to be out there preparing for the match. And if they even have class in the day, when school dismissed, rather than go home to do their homework or so on, they have to spend that time preparing. So the commitment of time on the students. Secondly, listen to this one. Personnel. There are some people that pulls out people that could otherwise would have been more meaningful activity. And you have to take them out to be participating in this. Finance. These are usually disproportionate to the number of individuals able to participate. So finance is another thing. Yeah. So the poor parents, the boy sends a child to a particular school, but you find out that they have to find extra money for this, extra money for that. Sometimes if an activity where the child have to get a new dress every time they're participating, and new shoes every time they participated, have to be transported a certain way. So the financial toll is disproportionate. As a matter of fact, sometimes when they win the trophy, they spend thousands of dollars just to get the trophy. And it is disproportionate because the amount of money what they spend could have buy 50 trophies. Yes. And then get one. So these competitions rob people of time, rob personnel, and rob has a serious financial toll. Now, Adventists are people who emphasize that we must not waste money. So it pulls on people. And sometimes the parents are hard to find what they don't have. To help or to find things for the children to participate in some of these activities. So it's very important. So about these sporting activities, I remember years ago at the school, I think Sister Perrin was principal or Pastor Henry. They encourage us to participate in a cricket competition that we're having. So some of the students, they wanted years ago. I think Smiley was saying it was a long time. So the students went round to Eden Park, participate in the cricket match. Huh? Apparently our students won. And it was a disgraceful thing. Mm-hmm. The guys who they participated from other schools, they were cursing bad word, going on, fight almost broke out, and we told the students, never again will this happen. Cannot participate. Because while you can exercise control over your student from our school, these students couldn't have any control. Because the teachers who were with them curse bad word too, drink alcohol and go on bad too when they lose and so on. So if a teacher is cursing bad word and drinking alcohol and going on bad,
no example.
We won't tell the student who is going on bad when the other team win. And so the coaches were cursing and so on and so forth. And this posed a major challenge. And I know that some of our students were saying, no, but we can't participate in this because imagine somebody was cursing bad word on the field and so on. And if one of the team members miss a catch, or they start behaving badly. So you cannot control the behavior of other persons in this type of thing. So we encourage our members stay away from these type of activities that will affect their Christian behavior and also that will belittle or demean them when it is finished. But I'm on Chris.
Yeah, as we look on the aspects of competition, I usually, when this thing named Rising Star came out on TV,
yes,
I would normally sit Sunday evening time and watch it.
Yes.
But I noticed after they were singing, they had different nights. Yeah. They have reggae night, they have dancehall night too.
Yes.
And I was saying to myself, but this can't right.
Yes.
If Seventh-day Adventists enter this program, they will have to sing a dancehall song of them night too.
Yeah, yes.
So right away, the standard would have breakdown because you're going to have to do just like what those secular persons are singing. So I know that for a fact that these competition, and when you look in the Bible coming up, we never used to hear about any competition. God's people must not be involved in these things. Because no matter how you say, it's just fun, it will bring some riff.
All right, thank you, Brother Moncrief. So let me just emphasize, Brother Moncrief, that as we discussed the last time and now, there are activities in the church that involves elements of competition. Okay. But they are, as I mentioned, there are some guidelines that must govern them.
Okay.
So that it doesn't cause harm to individuals. You mentioned the matter of a rising star. You notice sometimes these things start out innocent.
Yes.
And nicely.
Yes.
And going on.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you see bad manners and disrespect being displayed.
Yes.
For example, in these, I don't know if it's a rising star or something, where you have one person, it's a thing that they have now. So that when the judges, you have a judge there that is said to be disrespectful and out of order.
Yes.
And that is that's a part of it.
Yes.
So you have someone nice and sweet.
Yes.
But you must in the judges, you must have someone that they will say frank.
Mm-hmm.
But this person, if you examine it careful, the person promotes bad manners and disrespect. So the person will say, where you come from? But you can't sing. You have to go back home. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, once you see those type of things, the devil is undergirding this type of activity.
True.
Because there's no activity that involves wholesome thing where you have somebody there set to be disrespectful and belittle people. So yes, they will start out harmless. But I want to mention why these things go this way is that they are highly commercialized. And that's one of the things that we must stay away from. But Cyril, I think you are hinting at that. The highly commercialized activities. Because a lot of people will go there and their favorite person is the judge who is waiting either to pick up the person or to tear down the person.
And they laugh.
Right? Those type of things brings a lot of commerce to the persons who organize the activity. And we are encouraged, keep our children. We must stay away from these commercialized activities. Because they are designed to exploit people. So for example, when they offer them, they say, boy, they might give this, they might give her this amount of money for this, So we are encouraged not to participate in these type of commercialized activity. Because some people, they want to give exposure to people, but they are not designed for, they're designed for exposure, yes, but it's a vehicle for other people to make a lot of money.
Yes.
Right? So that's why they organize these activities. A lot of money, And the TV coverage and the radio coverage and so on and so forth, and a nice venue. But remember now, what it comes with. So they say, boy, we are giving out phone card and we're giving out this and we're giving out that. So it's highly commercialized. So we are encouraged to stay away from these type of activity. It is recognized in many educational systems. Promotion from one level of education to another is based on scoring high marks in competitive examination. Admission to professional and graduate schools, necessarily in preparation for certain vocation, is granted to those who excel above their peers in such an examination or by the achievement of high grades in classes. Also, success in many crowded vocations can be achieved only by performing at a higher level than others. Since some aspects of competition are inherent to modern life, the genuine Christian will minimize these as much as possible. It is hoped that the guidelines here in state will help in eradicating selfish rivalry or unwholesome competition, which is detrimental to the development of Christian character. So, we do not teach our children, Sister Reed, to achieve at the expense of others.
True.
2, we recognize that children and individuals learn at different pace. So, an Adventist school will take a child that people think can't do nothing. And it does. But because of our perception of education, 10 years, 5 years, people say, well, how is that picnic so bright? But you do not, but what you're doing is to improve people's life, not with respect to the achievement of other people.
True.
All right? A man comes in the Adventist church and he's not able to read. And 6 months' time, he can't read, and somebody say, man, but hold on, what's going on? Because the Adventists value the development of people in a certain way.
Yes.
So, in common, him wear short pants and t-shirt. And because of his association and the church's encouragement for him to improve it, he start wear one jacket. You get what I'm saying? Because you're trying to improve people's life. In the general competition, what they're saying, you must achieve at the expense of other people. And what we're saying, if you're sitting an exam, if whatever you're doing, you must allow for people who are fast learners, a little slower learners, to achieve. We must not have a system that shuts out some people and include some people. And if you notice the vows that we take when you're being baptized, it says there that what? We recognize people of what? All what? Persuasion, all faith, right? All races to be accepted as members. We do not want to have things that separate people. So when we done the quiz at AY, people mustn't feel vexed and gone.
No. True.
And say, boy, I'm no thief, Mr. Paula.
True.
Mustn't happen.
True.
Right? We must recognize the participation of everybody, and indeed, we can say without a doubt that we learned from the experience. Amen. I don't know if the person's in charge of AY is here at this time. Or Nick, you didn't person? All right.
Continue.
All right. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can change gear a little bit. And I want you to look at this one now. Now, you know that there is a concern across churches and it relates to Christian lifestyle and appearance. This is something, ever since I'm in the church, we have been having this type of discussion on Christian lifestyle and appearance. We also, I don't know if you are aware, also that there's a concern about the matter of cosmetics.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You are aware of that?
Yes.
All right? The matter of cosmetics. Who wearing this and who putting on this and who putting on that. And it has become a very major concern, especially as people look on the TV and see some of our members from some other different cultures that have on polished nails and polished face. See? Yes. And in some cases, people having on
lipstick too.
Jewelry, lipsticks, and those things. And I want to just spend a few moments to touch a little on this. You probably might not know or be aware. So what are the origin of some of these things? Cosmetics, for example. What are cosmetics? If somebody put powder on their face, is that a cosmetic? If you're putting on Vaseline, so they call it, you know Vaseline, anybody know Vaseline?
Yes.
But now use Vaseline again.
No.
So Ilana, you know what that is? Yes. All right. But is Vaseline a type of cosmetic? How about lotion? Is lotion a type of cosmetic, Brother Cyril? Yes. So there are lotions that are not cosmetic? But Brother Cyril, are there lotions that are not cosmetic? well, yeah, so calamine lotion is something that is used to treat what? Yeah, it's a medical thing, not true? Yes. It serves for medical purposes. Yes. Let me see if I can cite any other ones. Necessary. So give me some other ones. You know that some people wear some jewelry that are medical?
Yes, I know.
Anybody know of that?
Yes.
Well,
no, I wouldn't say that. That's the one I was going to talk about. If the person is diabetic or so that, but it's not a gold chain or something. It's just a little thing that they use to
So here's a question of Brother Mark. So what if it were made of gold? You have medical bracelets. They call them medical bracelets.
medical bracelets.
So, for example, I am allergic to penicillin.
Yes.
Right? I'm talking personal now, you know.
Yeah.
I am allergic to penicillin. So, if I fall down, if I'm in a situation where I'm supposed to get some form of antibiotics also, the doctor needs to know from before that I'm allergic to penicillin, so he can't give me any penicillin.
Yeah.
So how does the doctor know? Some cases,
Your file.
you have what is called a medical
Yeah.
bracelet.
File.
Some people are allergic to peanuts and have severe reaction, and pineapple. And so in some cases, the doctor have to give them a medical bracelet. And this they have to wear at all times. Right? So that they know. Now, for example, just first chance you give a person some peanut and the person takes sick. Once the person gets to the hospital, the medical bracelet will tell the doctor exactly what is happening. So here's the question now. Suppose the medical bracelet is made of gold. Should it be worn? Should it be made of copper? Or cloth? Or plastic? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, some people are afraid if they wear a medical bracelet that is made out of gold, because it is perceived to be something that is you're wearing for ornamentation. If you are in a culture where it is perceived this way, then it's always good that you probably wear one plastic one. Because you do not want to give a certain impression.
Yeah.
Right? So you know that it might be offensive and people might find it strange. And if you're a Christian, people might think it might belittle your witness. So people might consider it to be extravagant.
Yes.
And your person is promoting modesty. But at the same time, you are showing extravagance by wearing a medical bracelet that costs $200,000.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right away, the perception you give affects your weakness. So Paula.
So,
Right. Okay.
and so Elder,
Thank you.
I like
Use the mic, Barman.
I like how you bring forth that. So
Yes.
that is why the word of God said that we must shun the very appearance
Yes.
of evil. Okay.
So it's very Brother Lawson, give him the mic, please.
In Genesis 35, when Jacob was coming from Padan Aram, before he entered back into Canaan,
Yes.
he had to make an altar of sacrifice before he came back. And he told the women, all the women, to take off their strange gods. And they took off all their earrings and what they had, and he hid it under an oak tree.
All right, so they were not necessarily sacrificed. They were now,
Okay.
Jacob had called upon them to consecrate themselves to God. And a part of the consecration to God was to remove these things. Now please remember, it's not only earring and those things they took off. You know. There were gods,
Yeah.
images
Yeah.
that they had. In other words, the people were worshipping other things.
Yeah.
So in another word, Jacob was saying, for you to transfer from this life to a next one, for a different way, you
Yeah.
have to get rid of these things.
Yes.
And he called upon him to remove, because apparently, I'm supposing now, from that narrative, it suggests that the earring and the bracelet and those things were representative of another lifestyle,
Yes.
or another culture, or another religion. And so Jacob was saying, if we're going to consecrate ourselves and accept God now, you have to get rid of these things. So they had to take them off. So some people had some little images that were worshipped, and hearing and so on and so. So Jacob said, since you're changing a lifestyle, you now need to what? To get rid of these things. Thank you. So I'm going to take one more point, and I'm going to take the children for the song. So coming back to cosmetics, because I want us to talk about the cosmetics.
Yes.
We are in a different time now, and our young people are having different perception about jewelry and so on and so forth. I just want to make this very, very clear to you. Do not underestimate our young people when it comes to do these things. Because they are young people, you could never put any jewelry on them.
Sure.
Right? So, because not some people think that is not the young people alone are vulnerable to these things. There are quite a number of adults who are high chain on then clothes. And when they now come to church, then put in, you get what I'm saying? So, but cosmetics, where this come from? Right. You have any idea? Yes. You have come, Brother Cirilo, to use the mic.
Jezebel?
As well as they make like a chain like this
yes.
thing. And to me that is endorsed in cosmetic wearing because
yes.
when it's around the neck, it seems like a chain. If you do it properly,
yes.
to see that it make on the dress.
So is there a difference between a chain and a cosmetic? Yeah. Tell me about that. So you're talking about jewelry or cosmetic? Tell me now.
I'm talking about the jewelry.
Yes.
So I'm saying that in many ways them try to endorse to wear those things.
Yes.
Different.
All right, anybody else? Brother Lawson, use the mic, Brother Mark.
In the parable of the prodigal son.
Yes.
When he came back home.
Yes.
His father said, put a ring on his finger.
Yes.
And that ring was not just for like how people wear a ring. No. It was a ring that he was equal with his brother and his father. Because if he want to sell, say, 100 sheep, he could stamp it with his father's signature on it. Yeah. So those rings were signet rings for special purposes, not just for ornaments. Thank you.
You say not just for ornament, but that's not that ring was not an ornament at all.
No.
That ring was just like a stamp that you had in your office to stamp very important documents. Yes. Yeah. Right? So we cannot confuse that with ornamentation at all. No. Right? No, in no way, shape, or form. True. Now, let's go back to the matter of cosmetics. You know, cosmetics, some people believe that cosmetic originated from a time when people wear them to appease their gods. Yes, right? But some people, you must also remember that cosmetics were also worn for medical purposes. And a lot of people might not have known that. So let's look at suntan, for example. You know that suntan lotion would be a form of cosmetic, but it's for whatever reason. For medical reasons, for protection against the sun. Some people would use some of these cosmetics to hide certain things on them, certain spots or scar. Yes. 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 So in ancient time also, so people use them also cosmetic for medical purposes. So they would put some things around the eye for protection, on the forehead, on the cheek, for certain protection in certain, whether sometimes for sun. But also, please remember that people used to use these things also for religious purposes. One of the accounts said that a person who wore lipstick then, they believed that a red ring around the mouth, because you know that lipsticks was normally red. You're aware of that?
Yeah.
Not true? Yeah. No all color. But the red ring would keep the good spirit in and the evil spirit out. They wore this red ring out, the red ring around the mouth. I presume though that you know that the Bible say what the Bible says about cosmetic. It applies, but before I mention a few of these texts directly, or you know, let's look quickly at some background information. The children, are you ready for the singing? I think they went to practice. They're ready now? Continue. So cosmetic in the ancient world. Let's look at this one. Cosmetics in the ancient world. It has been suggested that makeup originated in magical beliefs and in concern for personal protection. So people put on something to protect them against the spirits and so on. It was probably seen as a way of hiding one's identity in order to protect from evil spirit. Yes. But evidence also points to two main reasons for using cosmetics. Hygienic or medical, and also beautification. Those are two things. Hygienic, Brother Nick, and beautification. Hygiene, it suggests, was probably the primary reason why they use it. That seems to have been the case in Egypt, where painting the eyes offered protection from eye diseases. That was their... So they would paint the eyes to offer protection from certain eye diseases. Then they also have the makeup repel flies that produce eye inflammation and protect the skin from the heat of the sun that otherwise would have dried away. Makeup was also a natural disinfectant. Let's go back to some of those. Some people, and I mentioned Egypt, use makeup then for medical purposes. They would use some to put on the skin and it acts as a repellent. Yeah. So they put them on the skin so mosquito don't bite. Can you imagine Sister Nadine come to church one Sabbath morning painting her face and neck because there's an outbreak of mosquito? What a trouble. Yes. So they also use cosmetic for that, for protecting eyes. So they have hygienic and they have medical reason. Painting the eyes and cheek was soon perceived to be a way of enhancing a person's appearance. So they're moving on from one stage to the next. In the case of the eyes, the eyebrow and the upper lids were painted one color, and the lower lines of the eyes were painted with a different color. This type of makeup framed the eye and gave the illusion that they were larger than they were. They wanted to give a certain appearance. Hence, makeup. A makeup, therefore, makes somebody look what? False. Out of their natural. Yes. Look. So a makeup produces a false you. Yes. That's what it suggests. To put it. Right? False. So when you put on the makeup, it is not you again. You have been converted. But it's really
somebody else.
For me. Tell them to come. Change to somebody or something else.
Yes.
So let me go. So the eyebrows and the upper lids were painted one color, and the lower line of the eyes were painted a different color. This type of makeup framed the eye and gave the illusion that they were larger than they were.
Yes.
The colors are usually black and green, although other combinations are known.
Mm-hmm.
So the black and green they normally use to pay for the right. I wonder why black and green.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen to this one now. Egyptians and Babylonians use makeup on their cheeks and lips. Egyptians and Babylonians use makeup on their cheek and on their lips. If you wear makeup now on cheek and lips, you're a Babylonian or an Egyptian. Let's see what it says. All right? Just say it, just joking. The pastes were commonly made from roots, flowers, berries, and minerals, and are used by both men and women. But remember now, it says they were originally used by men and women, so not just now. See? We can't use these language that I'm not familiar with in a long time ago. Promers. Yes. Yes. Are the children ready for the song? So we're going to take the children at this time, and then we will come back to you. Come, children. Somebody can give them a mic. All right. You can stay right here and sing.
Bubbling over, Jesus' love is a bubbling over. Jesus' love is bubbling over. Hallelujah. Bubbling over. L. Love is bubbling over. Hallelujah. Bubbling over, L, O, bubbling, L, bubbling over, hallelujah. L, O, E over, L, O, E over, hallelujah. O, E, O, L, O, L, O, E, hallelujah. Bubble, bubbling over, I bubble, 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 bubble. I bubble, 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 bubbling over. Hallelujah.
Amen. Thank you, children. Thank you. Thank you. Come down. Next man, go ahead and sing.
If you're happy, know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stamp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stamp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show. If you're happy and you know it, stamp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy happy and you know it, say praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. If you're happy and praise the Lord. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show, if you're happy and you know it, say praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. If you're happy and you know it. If you're happy and you know it's the praise the Lord.
Amen. Thank you, children. Lovely, 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 lovely. Amen. No, that's what I like about children. You know what they said? We are not finished yet. Yeah. All right. Adults would have jumped on and gone, but they are telling you they're not finished. All right, and they're making it clear they're not finished. All right. So, Sister Beatrice, we're looking at all about cosmetics. So, if you want your eyes to look a little bigger, Sister Beatrice. All right, it miss you. All right, so let's go now. Egyptian and Babylonians used makeup on their cheeks and lips. The paste was commonly made of roots, flowers, and so on. Preparation for a wedding, including a beautification process of cleaning and adornment, including making up the eye as the last element in the process. Facial treatments were particularly common in Egypt, Greece, and Rome. We have recipes from Egypt for ornaments that suppose to remove wrinkles and other signs of aging. Anyone interested in that? Removing wrinkles or other sign of aging? Greek women put on a beautification mask before going to bed and use milk to remove it in the morning. So they put on a beautification mask and then they have to use, and they go to bed with that. And in the morning, they use milk to remove it. I'm not sure what happened during the night. The emphasis on makeup as a means of beautification was sometimes associated with seduction. And when exaggerated, was considered to be a characteristic of prostitutes. You heard that part? So the emphasis on makeup as a means of beautification was sometimes associated with seduction. So women want to seduce somebody or the men want to seduce the women. And it says, when exaggerated, was considered a characteristic of prostitution. So if the person put on the false eyelashes and back to the male, it sends a certain signal. That's why it goes, Sister Charmin. The Charmin laughing. If you even look at cartoons and you see they're showing like a girl, they show the eyelids. Eyelid them or lash. A lash. It's eyelid and lash, yeah. Eyelashes. Okay. Lid lash. All right. Bopping. So makeup also are provided for kind of seduction, they say, and could be associated with characteristics of prostitution. All right. Biblical material. So those are some of the ancient time, That's conveyed in the ancient world. Go ahead, Sister Silver. So Sister Peter, because Gillis asked about what about dark spots? So makeup to cover dark spot. And white spots, therefore then. Yes. Now I didn't mention that some persons use cosmetic to hide certain blemishes. So it may be scar and the same thing, yes, they would use it to cover certain spots. Yes. That's very interesting. A very interesting question that Sister Pickersgill. What about dark spots? If somebody has a dark spot, should they put on makeup to hide the spot? What do you think? Yes, hold the mic close by. Sister Charmaine, sometimes they are not comfortable with the spot. So if you're not comfortable with your face, with your skin, you're encouraging us to do a little bleaching. Yes, go ahead, Sister Charmaine. You were saying? Sometimes you're not comfortable.
Medical.
Yes.
Medical reason.
So some people use makeup because of a medical reason. All right.
I've seen this
Yes.
young lady who she was in a plane crash.
Yes.
In fact, she was the only survivor of the plane crash. So she
Yeah.
has terrible scarring left from the burns. Remember how many degree burns?
Right.
So there are times when she actually covers that with makeup, but there are times when she goes without and the scars are quite evident.
Interesting. So somebody says, Brother Hamill? Yes.
If you were born with this spot,
Yes.
you were created with this spot, why hide it? That is how God made you.
That's a very interesting question.
I have known a lady with they call it birthmark,
Yes.
right on the jaw here. And when she put on the makeup, only because you know her, you realize that is she.
Yes.
But she was born with it.
You heard that question, you saying that if a person is born with this spot, why hide this spot? Now, so the reason why you hide this spot was it is not necessarily because of you, you know. And I want some people to understand something. People would have been you would have been comfortable with your spot, Brother Nick, if you were the only person in the world. Think about it. Because you would not have anybody to compare what you have with. And therefore, your spot would have been normal. And I like the point you're making, Brother Amil. Very interesting. So you're born with it. Now you have to use the mic because the sound is coming. Yes.
Use that one, ladies.
So if you have questions, use the mic. As the Sister Reed come close to the mic for that side.
Persons realize
Go ahead,
that
start again.
after using makeup after a while, it does something to your whole look. I don't know if persons ever seen persons.
True.
Because I have seen persons after this wear makeup for a while. If you see them on the road, you don't even realize it. And then the skin start to, some health issues that I have observed. The other thing too, you're right, Brother Scott, about the fact that because of people, why you probably put on the makeup, because everybody asks me why I don't dye my hair. You know? And and you feel sometimes, well, in your mind, you're saying, what's it, because my stepmother saw me and she said, who's it? You're not dye your hair, you look ugly. But you see, it doesn't really matter to me, So, it wouldn't be. But other people might take it differently. And because of what people say, they do what they do.
Yes.
I like how you put
Yeah, so it's very interesting that we live our lives based on what others think. But remember now, you're an Adventist, Anyway, Sister Reed, and I saw a hand somewhere.
Excuse me.
Use the mic. You have to use the mic so the persons online can hear you because the sound is coming through the mic. Yes.
I just want to add to what Sister Scott said. Sometimes it's because of low self-esteem why they do it.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Go ahead, Sister Reed.
I don't agree in hiding it. No. When we born with it or along the way, something happened that you have it,
Yes.
go that everybody just know that is you that. Don't
Right.
bother cover up anything. Just you that. Don't worry to cover up anything.
No, Sister Scott, well, you have to use the mic so the people online can hear.
No, but I'm saying that Sister Charmaine, it's easier said than done, Sister Reed. You understand? I I agree that, we should accept ourselves, but, some people, because of various reasons, they are going to want to do something to fit in, to make them feel good about
that's
themselves.
the challenge, that's the danger.
You understand? So
Yes.
you have to understand people.
Yeah, Barnick, and then I see Brother Cyril.
Yes, Ella, there's a follow-up question to what
Yes.
Sister Scott said. Regarding the dying of the hair, is there something wrong with actually, because a lot of the men, especially those up in the age, they tend to dye their hair, even in the Adventist church, pastors also. So I'm saying, is that okay?
All right, so hold on. Let's take Brother Cyril first. That's a different point, so we're going to take Brother Cyril, then we come to that.
Ella, what I noticed that many
Yes.
people who work in the banks, they have
Yes.
to put on cosmetic. They have to have a certain look,
Yes.
right? And so that, what about if you're a Seventh-day Adventist and you have to do a job like work in the bank?
Yes.
What decision you would have to make? Because I seen these things, that Seventh-day Adventists work in banks.
Yeah.
When you see that person, they have on red lips and when you see them Sabbath, it's a different person you are seeing just because you know them. Why?
Yes.
So I'm saying that if it's because of the work fraternity too as well. So
All right, so I don't think, though, to be fair to the bank, I don't think that the bank tell you how to
Not the bank, Ella.
dictate that you must wear this or that. But I'm not sure.
No.
But some persons, to fit in,
No.
they adopt certain lifestyles
Practices.
and things. Because I know I have been seeing a number of Adventists who worked in banks, and they have not modified
True.
anything. They look normal, they don't put on no color up and no shine up and so on. They look, and they're, when others dress might be very, very tight, they have their dress, I have seen that. So it's, in a number of cases, people are succumb to social pressure, because everybody look a certain way, everybody
You
want
want
to look,
just
and they
like
might
that.
think that you are out of place. And it comes out to the matter of the competition that we were talking about, how people make you feel. Right? Yes, Sister Paula, and then we're going to we remember Nick's question.
Yeah, I've just always been fascinated by the whole idea that it's called make-up.
Yes.
To me, it gives the impression that I am not fearfully and wonderfully made, and I have to be brought up to a level that is acceptable.
Yes.
So I don't see why, if we accept ourselves as being made in God's image, then there's absolutely no need for us to make up. I mean, I work in the corporate field. I don't really interface with customers that much, but I don't need to put on anything. I remember we were taking staff ID, saw everybody running to the bathroom, putting on this and that. All I did was wash my face, dry it off, and I didn't see my pictures looking worse than anybody else's. So we just have to know who we are and accept ourselves.
Amen.
It's a very serious thing when it comes to putting on, I remember I saw a young lady, and I was saying to her, man, this is how you look in your normal, this is your normal look. And I said to her, have you ever taken a picture of yourself and look how you look normal? This is your normal, natural look. You are not seeing that you look better than the other look. Because I can tell you, when the person makes up, it is not you. And so Paula mentioned the running to the bathroom to put. What you're actually doing is to put on a false self for the camera, right? And it does generate the idea of inferiority and superiority,
Yes.
and who look better than that. Now this is something, and I want to say that we as Adventists do not preach or expose, that we should teach people that they need to do some things
Be themselves.
to make them look better,
No.
appear better at the expense of their natural God Himself.
I'm telling you.
Right? And this is, but you know, something that has been ingrained in us, so much so, if you say to a member, the member might be offended, not because of the teaching and the pressure to accept this as being normal. And some people who work in certain corporate world succumb to the pressure. Sister Scott, you're responding to Nick's question. You have to use the mic. Use the mic. Yes.
Well, I'm not here to say it's wrong, right? But I was just wanting to explain one of the reasons I think it should not be done. All right. For health reasons, that is one of the reasons. You know, for health reasons, because some of these things are made from certain chemicals. And my grandmother, she dyed her hair when she was in England, because it's usually white. And what she says to me, if you look at my hair, child, it's not white as well anymore. The color, her hair is red.
Yes.
The white, the ones that are,
dye.
yes, because over time, the dye, that's what the dye does to her hair. So I have never thought about dying because of that. Because I'm saying, yes, even though I'm a different person from my grandmother, I am not going to wait to see if it's going to happen to me or not. I'm not going to test that. So that's one of the reasons why I don't die. So I have a concern about health factor, and people tell you, but they are natural ones. You understand? I just afraid of the die that you're really dying slowly.
All right, thank you, Sister. So next question was that, is there, a lot of people are dying. Is there something wrong with dying? And I want somebody older than me or somebody to tell me what they think. Yes, Brother Hamill.
Not for the dying. I was coming up with something else. I thought you had finished it.
You can take it, and then we can.
We are speaking of makeup.
Yes.
Does putting denture, is it makeup?
This is not the first, and it's a long time I've heard that question asked. Is the use of denture makeup? Brother Bogle. Brother Bogle. That's very important.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a denture is not, you're not making up something. It's a replacement.
Yeah.
You're actually trying to find something to make you more efficient in it. So yes, but Brother Amil, that's not that strange.
Ella Scott.
That's a strange question. Because I have heard that. Because, for example, you're going to you could apply the same thing to a prosthetic leg. Is a prosthetic leg a makeup? You got what I'm saying? Now, what do we classify to be a makeup? If a prosthetic arm is a prosthetic armor, someone having two good arms and he lose one, and he puts on a prosthetic one, is it a makeup? A person whose eyes has gone bad, and he wears something to bring back his sight, is that a makeup? Sister Silvera.
No, I was just going to put a little spoke in there. What about if I want a new nose?
All right, so if you need a new nose.
I want to replace the nose I now have.
And you have a nose.
But something might be wrong with it, so I want to replace it.
Something is wrong.
You see, you have to put that spin in a Sister Silvera. And something is wrong, mean that there's a spot on it? Yes. Because you see, we come back to the point of motives. Yes.
Ella.
Yes, so we come back to the point of motive. So, Brother Nick, let me take you. You're answering Sister Silvera's question.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
Regarding the back to the die.
Yes.
All right. With the example that the brother gave about the denture.
Yes.
And you see just replacing something.
Yes.
But a person look at the die and say the hair used to be naturally black.
Yes.
It has gone grey. They know they're restoring it back to the original color.
And I have no problem.
Okay.
Now, I don't think, listen now, I don't think a person dying their hair is sin. I'm not going to say that, right? I'm not going to go out to say that. And some things you cannot form judgment or make opinions on. One thing I will tell you, that when it comes to makeup, makeup can have an inherent purpose of trying to project a false self.
Yes. True.
Right? Now, so let me use dye, for example. I mean, I don't support dyeing, but that's a different story. If a person wants to dye their hair back to its original color, there's no more things about it. Yes, that was where it was before originally. So that's a good argument. So we can bring it back to where it was. Same thing with prosthetic leg, not true? Same argument can be used. No problem with that. Is that person trying to project a false self? My hair was black, was white, was black, it is now gray, and I'm dyeing it. Is this a false self of me? It probably is, and it probably is not, Because you know that a person that goes with age, there is some consequences that comes with your stage of development. Am I right? Now, if I see Sister British with jet black hair at 85, and it's not an unusual situation, right away, it gives me the impression that Sister Beatrice is trying to project herself at a certain way. If I see her at 85 and she in skin tight jeans,
yes, ma'am.
Sister Beatrice. Yes. No, fine. So what I'm saying? Yes. Yes. All right. So it's very interesting. Yes. So, Sister Beatrice, I wish the people could hear you. Yes. So let me say now, Sister Beatrice. I'm glad you mentioned that way. So let me explain something to you now, which is very important. No matter where we go and what we do, if you are a Christian, if you are a politician, if you are a barber, there's something that comes naturally with you in terms of influence. You can't hide that. Cannot hide that. It comes naturally with you. If you are 80, there's something that must come with you naturally. And you can't get wrong that. Right? If you are 80, you must dress a certain way.
Yes.
And if you don't dress a certain way, you are giving a negative impression, no matter what society you are in. If you are 85 and you dress a certain way, you are giving a negative, you're giving a wrong impression.
Yes.
So if an 85-year-old man get out there and in a tight, skinny, you get what I'm saying? You are giving an impression.
Yes.
And people who are giving the impression will not be comfortable or even be respectful Because you know you're giving a certain impression. And that must be very, very clear.
Yeah.
In the same way, you are a Seventh-day Adventist and you are placing certain cosmetics on you. You are giving certain impression. People, so let's go back. So the eyes were painted to make them look a little larger. Remember the history of grave?
Yes.
The eyelids were enlarged for seduction, Sister Brown.
Yes.
And that's why it was associated with prostitution. Right? So a tattoo. I'm going to take a second. Let's look at a tattoo, for example. I'm coming back to this now. People wear and do things not for themselves per se, but for others. Whether you want to accept it, yes or no, it is true. But style, Sister Charmaine, is in respect to another person.
Yes.
Style is a comparison, you know. Makeup is a comparison. If you wanted it born and have bald head, you wouldn't think about here. The only time you start to think about here is when what? Somebody appears on the scene and they have on here. Without like alopecia, coming to that. So somebody appears with here, then you start saying, but wait, but here, there. You understand what I'm saying? So regardless of what we want to sing, we dress, and most of the ladies dress other people. We do not dress for ourselves. If Sister Brown feels comfortable wearing a crocus bag, now go by get that crocus bag even though we wear in our house. But when the time to go up a high gate, she will not wear the crocus bag go up a high gate. Because the appropriateness of a crocus bag is in relation to those who are looking. Sister Christy, give her the mic.
Yes. When the Lord gives you hair and it gray, it looks so beautiful and nice. Am I here there?
Yes.
See there? And people have to say, Lord, Sister Mary, look, you're here. And I'm not here. I mean, I can hold for white hair right here.
Yes.
You know me here. No white hair, not in there. I don't know why. My father died, you know. Not one hair, not white hair, not head, pure black, and he was about 70 years ago, died.
Yes.
I said, weird. I said, Sister Mary, you died here? I said, died? My God, me not dye my hair, you know. My God, give my hair is black and beautiful. When you have some Asian lady, their hair white. And they look so beautiful. White, beautiful, you know. They're white and pretty. I mean, my hair, they're full of white.
Yes.
I love white hair, my brother. I don't dye my hair. I don't
Thank
do
you,
my
Sister
hair.
Christy.
Nothing at all do to my
Now
hair.
you see,
Nothing.
Sister Christy, there's an example here. Sister
Yes,
Christy
ma'am, my hair
has dark
beautiful.
hair.
That's it. No dye.
Right? And it's about that point
No
that you
chemical on
can
my
get
hair.
white.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Christy. Even at that point where you think it should get white, her hair remains dark. Now, my grandmother was 95 when she died. And her hair was white like this paper. Beautiful. Now, if my grandmother got up one day and dyed that hair, Sister Reed, right away she's out of sync with our facial features, our wrinkles, not true?
Yeah.
The eyes, the hairs, right away, you know. Once it dies it, you realize you see somebody
different
that is totally different. Now, I always tell people, you can always see when somebody bleaching. Why?
Yes. They're totally different from the person that you know.
Yes, Sir Paula, but you know what happened? The color of the eye don't match the skin.
Not match the skin.
The shape of the lip don't match the skin.
Yeah.
The ears don't match the type of skin. I don't know if you're aware, you know. You see this is the color of your skin and the shade. It's designed for your ears and your mouth and your nose and your eye.
Yes.
Once you bleach it out.
Yes.
Once you put on a wig, you know, you have to accept that it change your whole
Somebody different.
whole appearance. Because God kind of designed you a certain way. I don't know if you know, some people putting some picture on their profile now. And you have to look good. Yes. You have to look good for them. When they done, fix you up, you know.
Elder?
You look good for them, yes.
That's the shortcut to makeup. Nowadays we call them filters.
Oh, that's what they call them. Yes. So go ahead, Brother Moncrief.
Yeah. I don't like to see people putting on those things on their body.
Yes.
But you know, God says to us in His Word that by their fruit you shall know them. Yeah. When we are Seventh-day Adventists, because I am out on the road, partially, only on Sabbath I'm not there, on Friday night, but I'm out there working. And when we as Seventh-day Adventists dress a certain way, if you could hear the comments that those persons who are not Seventh-day Adventists make, you would wet up yourself. Because we have a special mark. And the moment we start dressing like the world, the people say, but wait, no, them people are never Adventists. They'll know that we are to dress modest.
Yes.
They know we don't wear makeup and lipstick and nails and all them things. And it caused a lot of damage, Elder Scott. Yeah. Even though I noticed, I remember 2019, I went away and we were at church. And coming from the old school, I know the standard that God set for us and the church set. Yeah, I'm coming. When I'm an old Adventist.
When you don't, I will comment.
You can comment on that. And the way that I grew up in the church and see Seventh-day Adventists usually dress, their appearance, you wouldn't have to question, Brother Seraldo.
Yes.
So when I went away and I see my brothers and sisters with extended nails and anklet.
What you saying here, brother?
I remember my nephew's. I remember my nephew's wife said to me, "But Brother Mark, it's their culture." And I said, "No, God didn't ordain us to be like that." And when I study about Jezebel, I said, no, we can be a true Adventist and dress looking like that.
Thank you, Brother Monkey. It's their culture, yes. But the culture doesn't so it is quite culture, you know, Sister Charmaine. Alright, so the culture doesn't make it right though. Remember now. Culture must not be used to determine right. Alright, ready? Alright, let's stay together and then we'll come back to this. Let's take some the biblical material on makeup, cosmetics. Ready for it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, there's little evidence related to the use of cosmetics in Israel. Little evidence. We know that Israelites use cosmetics because archaeologists have found utensils associated with the production and application of cosmetics. And not necessarily mean that them that do it anyway, because you had other people among them. Yeah. However, it is impossible to say how widespread the practice was, but it is logical to conclude that it was at least common among Israelites upper class. Mm-hmm. 3 biblical passages in which makeup is mentioned provide little information. In preparation to be Jehu, remember this?
Yes.
Jezebel painted her eyes, arranged her hair,
Yes, sir.
Looked out of a window. 2 Kings 9 and verse 30.
Yes,
Who want
sir.
to read that for me? 2 Kings 9 and verse 30. And mark it in your Bible. What did Jezebel do? He painted her eyes. So maybe she have on some long false eyelash. Arrange her hair and look out of a window. 2 Kings 9:30.
I'm going to read it.
Read it. Use the mic. Come on, keep you there, you know.
No.
Yes, read.
When Jehu was come to Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her head and looked out through the window. Look out at the window.
All right. Why do you think Jezebel did this?
Was looking attention, seeking attention.
However, the specific reason for this is not clear. Not true? But you know that this is a form of beautification.
Yes.
Was she trying to seduce him? Was she using makeup to protect herself from evil? Because you know that some people used it then for that, Brother Bogle. The text implied that she dressed and adorned herself as a queen to confront her enemy. Her beauty did not save her. Okay, you know what Jehu did? You know what they did? They took her out and what? Throw her down.
Yes.
Alright, and she died.
Yes.
We don't know. Maybe she was trying to appease her gods or whatever she did. But you know what happened. So that's the first answer. Makeup, however, in the Bible is associated with seduction.
Yes.
In Jeremiah 4 and verse 30. Let's look at this one. Jeremiah 4 and verse 30. Jacob, makeup associated in Jeremiah 4.
Want me to read it?
4:30. 30. Jeremiah 4:30.
All right. Can I read it now?
Yes.
And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting in vain, shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lover will despise thee, they will seek thy life.
So right away, if you look at the text, it is associated, the cosmetic is associated with seduction. Right? So and that's where the Lord uses it. That the intent of this cosmetic use of to put on, and it mentioned what did the person put on? It described you dress yourself in scarlet.
Yes.
Talk about the clothes. And
Gold.
put on jewels of gold.
Yes.
You shade your eyes with pain.
See,
you adorn yourself in vain, he said. So all of this, so really, it presents the use of makeup in this instance as a matter of seducing.
Yes.
Because it went on to say that your lovers will despise you. So those you are seeking to seduce will despise. So you should know it is used in the sense of that. Enhanced beauty through makeup would not deliver her, as he described the person, from her enemies. This text implied that makeup was known and used by Israelite women, that it contributed to beautification of women, and there were limits to its value. They're using it to enhance beauty, and they're using it to see for seductive purposes. So those are two texts that the Bible mentioned, and it appears to use makeup in a negative, associated with in a negative sense. With these two when it comes to the cosmetics. And we're talking about the painting, and we don't even come to the chain and bangle and something. We're talking about the painting and that type of thing. But today now, let's look at makeup today. So in those days, Sister Brown, cosmetics, were used for medical purposes, for beautification, and also, to some extent, for religious purposes. So it says, for example, some people, Sister Beatrice, painted themselves as an insect repellent. Some people painted themselves for seduction and beautification. And some people painted themselves for medical purposes. So for example, the Egyptian, they said painted, or Babylonian, one of them, to protect against certain eye diseases. So there were medical purposes, beautification purposes, religious purposes, and of course, seductive purposes. Sister Silvera.
I don't think you mentioned this one.
Yes.
Persons have been painted or are being painted with makeup, if you want to call it that, because they work in television.
Okay, so I'm coming to the modern one now.
Oh.
Yes. So makeup today. All right, so makeup today is very common among women. And it's becoming so among men. True?
Yeah. It is here.
No, I'm not going to say it's very common. Because if you look in here, no, I'm just talking, if you're taking a sample. Yeah. But it's becoming common. I'll give you an example. I was looking at a report that was given in India, and they were suggesting that the men were utilizing the cosmetic services more than women.
Yeah.
That is India. So, it is becoming very, 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 very common. Yeah, man, it's becoming. I'm saying emerging. It's not wholesale, right? But it's becoming very common. The fundamental purpose, what is the purpose for makeup now, though? What are the two fundamental purposes?
People claim that it enhances their beauty.
So we have aesthetics, beauty, and what else? Nowadays, what are the two common purposes? The aesthetics, that is aesthetic. Hygienic. All right, so those are the two. Think about them. So those are the two fundamental purposes, hygienic and aesthetic, or the same beautification. The Bible does not give any specific guideline concerning its use, but biblical principle should guide us in use. First, the Bible does not deny the value of good appearance and concern for health. This is the two things that people use now, not true? Hygienic, so some people put it on, Nick, and put on things for suntan thing. You know that's a form of cosmetic. Alright? Put on that. What is that? This cosmetic in there is what? Hygienic. Now, when you think of cosmetics though, we tend to think of cosmetic as all negative. So at the beginning, I asked Sister Beatrice, if the use of lotion is a cosmetic. And nobody going to go and quarrel and say, boy, you must put on a lotion to make sure your skin is white. But it's a cosmetic, not true? Yes. The suntan lotion could be considered a cosmetic. Some people rub things on their skin to keep off dust, not true? Keep off certain insects, or whatever. So when we talk about cosmetics, we have to make sure that what we're saying is what we're saying. All right, so some people say, no, cosmetic can do what, and burn fire, and so on. You have certain soap, for example, soaps, right? However, and it says here, the biblical principle should guide us in the use. First, the Bible does not deny the value of good appearance and concern for health. Second, the Bible places emphasis on inner beauty over physical beauty. Finally, modesty should be the norm when addressing this particular issue. Coming to that. Modesty describes a demeanor that expresses itself in a self-respect, discretion, and avoidance of extremes. On the fact that we are children of God and a representative of God. So let's look at some terms mentioned in there. Norm, Modesty describes a demeanor that expresses itself in self-respect. How does that come in the use of cosmetics, Sister Beatrice? Self-respect. If you bleach, are you demonstrating self-respect? Get what I'm saying? Just think about it. Yes. But it, no, but this, yeah. But no, Sister Brown. The fact that the person has to go and bleach suggests that inherently they consider that something is wrong somewhere. If you think about it, if they are dark and people and I started about with a young guy down the road here. I look up my road, the man darker than me. I look see this brown man. So I say, oh, this brown man look like X. So wait, are you? I said, yeah, boy, brother Scott, can't. Why am I done with blackness, you know? He makes a comparison, Miss Brown, and he says he's finished with blackness. Now, why he goes to the length to make this comparison is because he sees a challenge with what he has done. He considers. So, right away, he tries to project something to say, I'm justifying doing this because because you're not getting a rating as a black man. That's basically what he was saying. So the moment he projects this, you know that he realized that what he has done is not something right. And so he's trying to, boy, since black man are getting a ratings, me I got to turn a brown man. Yes. Yes.
And even they're more beautiful and
yes.
And so that me think that is the approach them take, that whenever they bleach them skin, that people have seen them.
Yes.
Because it really and true, we've been seeing them for true, because as you see somebody who bleach, it draw attention to you. So you have to look, because you remember that was a black person that.
Yeah. Yes.
All right?
Now, I wanted to. Yes. I want to make something very important. And I want us as Adventists to take note of this. This is absolutely important. There are people in this world who are willing to exploit people for commercial purpose.
Yeah.
And I want you to follow this. Once, Sister Silvera, if a person is dark skinned, they couldn't appear on the catwalk, as they call it.
Yes.
As a model. So when I was growing up, every book you're looking at, they used to have these, what do you call it, magazine.
Yes.
And all the people in there were light skinned persons. But today, the best models and the sought after models are dark-skinned persons.
Yes.
Especially if the person is extremely dark.
Yes.
So now they are going down, I think it's Kenya or one of those African countries, to find the darkest skinned person.
Yes.
Why? It's a form of exploitation. So once black skin was considered to be the black, stay at the back. Now, there's a way to exploit the beauty of a black skin. So it is now presented up front. So if a man goes somewhere and finds a skinny, dark, pretty white teeth, short hair. You know what I say short hair? Because the models are to have what? Long hair. Short hair, jet black person. They would have found gold. So the shifting has nothing to do with the value of people, but it's a commercial thing. We must know also the bleaching has nothing to do with value of peace. You know, it's a commercial thing. One time was disgraceful to be a bleacher, not true? Now a man goes on the radio and sing that boy, my bleach.
Yeah.
When bleaching start, I don't even know the song that was being sung. Them a bleach to look like browning. And it was a distasteful thing. But bleaching get commercialized. Enough people want to make the bleach in cream and make money.
Yeah.
So they might promote it on internet and they might send it on give and they might say the best thing this to use now. So people are now being exploited.
Yes.
And that is how the shifting thing. The same thing with makeup. The look, a certain look must be generated, and this look is pushed by the person who produced these products. To the extent that if a girl don't have on certain thing, the girl is made to believe that they are not valuable. So you have to put on color. You have to put on this, put on. You have eyelash, you have to look a certain way. It's a way of teaching people not to value themselves, but to live according to the opinion of John Public. So self-respect goes out the door. Yeah. And extreme comes in. So who can now wear the shortest mini? Who can now put on the best colors? So you're moving to extreme. And so they carry us all over the place until we sink. So it's very important that our perception of ourselves, if a person, you know that tattoo has become very popular. True? Become very popular. But what good is a tattoo if nobody sees it? Think about it. What good is it if nobody is seeing it? Have you ever thought about it? So, how do you see a tattoo? If a tattoo is right here, a dress is worn to what? It's on the breast. It is worn to show it. It's on the back. Wherever the tattoo is. If it's on the leg up here, something short. Because a tattoo is not valuable unless somebody sees it. The whole idea of enhancing and makeup is in relation to somebody else. In other words, you are making a comparison with you and somebody else. And for you to look valued and look good, you have to make a comparison with somebody else. God says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Amen.
It didn't, the Bible at no time suggest that for you to look good, you must therefore compare yourself to somebody else.
Never.
That is the whole idea of makeup, cosmetics. I make the point again. Who had alopecia and are you one day wrong? That never done one way.
True.
Well, awesome. Yes. What about the hat wear? Yes. Yes. So what you say about the hat wearing, Brother Lawson? Yes. Yeah, no, but I'm saying, what you're saying about the hat wearing?
Because some they must wear hat. Huh?
Your question was what about the?
No, about the hat wearing is a controversy.
Use the mic. Don't move it here.
The hat wearing is a controversy into the church. I've seen maybe 50 or more Seventh-day Adventist church in Africa, and you do not see one hat.
But I don't think that wearing is a controversy in our church anymore, Brother Lawson. There are elements in the church that still expose that people must wear hat, but it is not a widespread challenge anymore. I can tell you that there are times past in Jamaica where you cannot, in any Adventist church at all, you could not go anywhere on the platform to participate without a hat. That used to happen. There are still some splintering of people who are mentioning this, but this is not a major challenge for the church anymore, because we who are members who read the Bible understand clearly what the Bible says about covering or not. So it is not a major, I mean, here, you will recall Sister Beatrice, it used to be a very serious thing here. Even in latter days, though, even here, was just maybe one or two persons who were trying to impose their beliefs on the brethren. But I recall Dr. Patrick Allen, Governor General, then President of the Union, sent out a letter to address this matter, indicating to our brethren that people must never be barred from participating in service if they don't have hats. There are still people who are exposing and trying to push a certain thing, but we don't have that major challenge anymore. Yes. Yes.
Without a hat?
Yes.
I'd never forget that, sir.
Yes.
And what happened?
Yes.
So it is no longer an issue, because what was important is whether the person was preaching the word of God that others can hear and be converted.
And whether the person was morally sound to be standing in front of the brethren delivering the message. Yes, so that's not a challenge. I know it's not a challenge anymore. There are still pockets, and there are still churches, Brother Lawson, I must say. There are still churches, if you go there, you cannot participate without putting on a hat. It still exists. Yes.
Anymore, because hat wearing now is fashion.
Now, hat wearing is fashion now, and just to say, and I want to say this, do not wear when you're dressing to come to church, and I must say this, your dressing must not be outlandish. Because if it is outlandish, it is going to cause a distraction. In other words, what you do if you dress outlandish in coming to church, you can't dress outlandish, you can't dress, whatever if you go on your social occasion. When it comes to church services, what happens? You come to church for a particular purpose. And if you dress a certain way outlandish, it distracts from the purpose. Right? Now somebody see you. Now some people then come to church late when they dress outlandish. And then step in and hear the boot, boom, boom, boom on the floor. Because they want to bring attention to themselves. Now that should not be the purpose when you come to church. If you are going to a wedding or you are going to whatever social gathering you want to bring attention to yourself, that is your business. But when it comes to a corporate worship situation like this, it is not in good taste that you dress in a certain way that brings attention to you. Because church serves a purpose, particular purpose. And the purpose of church is really not to bring attention to individuals. So that is very important. I'm not saying you mustn't dress nice, but you also have to bear that in mind. So sometimes the hat you wear is styled a certain way that, yes, the black people are see, but at the same time, everybody see you, see the hat before they see you. Brother Nick, then we're coming down to a close.
Yes, a related question to the hat wearing. What about tithes for men, especially persons who are going to preach? Not just going on the platform in general, but a person is going to present the message.
Yes.
Is it a necessity for the person to be properly attired in tithes?
All right, I'm going to give you 2 counts on this. It's not necessary that you wear a tie. Let me say that. But, and I'll give you counts also as it relates to hat wearing. Paul, in admonishing the brethren, mentioned something that is very important. I want to paraphrase it this way, Nick. If you are recognizing that you are going to preach, but you know that in your audience, there are persons are going to be offended if you don't have a tithe. It is ungodly and immoral if you jump before the people, ignoring that factor and start preaching without a tithe. Because one, you know that's going to be a challenge. So you go up there with the intention of causing confusion. Get what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you go, for example, if you know you're going, one thing they say, you're going to a church to preach, you must find out about the local culture of the church. Because in some churches, you can't go preach without a jacket. You got what I'm saying? So you have to bear it in mind because you do not want to deliberately cause offense. So it is important that you know. So while you know that you can go and preach without a tithe, but you recognize that there's a major challenge in the church. And notice I said major challenge. Because if one person in the church oppose if the whole church say you can't go and preach without the tithe, one man say, boy, no, you can't come and come preach without. You have to respect the opinion of the majority. Right? So that is very important. However, if you feel that you want to satisfy everybody, you must wear your tie. But it's not a requirement. But I want to tell you this. It appears to be some form of sacrilege, and I'm just using it loosely. If an Adventist pastor jumps on a pulpit on a Sabbath morning to preach without his tie, and in some cases without his jacket. Brethren don't normally feel comfortable in Jamaica. In other places, it is normal. But when it comes to in this union or whatever it is, it is not appropriate. Let me put it that way. It's not a sin. It's not appropriate for a pastor to go on the pulpit in his bush jacket. Why? Because that is the prevailing understanding of the brethren. There might come a time when pastor can come and preach freely in his bush jacket. The time is not yet. Yes. Please remember, it has nothing to do with with biblical principle in terms of if you must go up there in a jacket. Right. And it must be respected. It must be respected because that is the prevailing understanding. And Paul's counsel was that if you know that the thing is going to cause offense, you must not go right ahead and do it. If what you're presenting is something that you cannot avoid, it is a biblical truth that you cannot avoid, offense or no offense, then you have to what? Present it. So if a man say, boy, for you to preach, you have to drink liquor wine. You know you can't go drink no wine. So you have to get up there and go preach without the wine, regardless of what the man think. But you have to remember that. Sister Nadine, then yes.
Even within our culture, sometimes it depends on where you are and what is happening.
Yes.
Look at camp, for example. So sometimes we're at camp, and based on the setting and, we're dressed down, so to speak.
Yes.
The preacher could be in a T-shirt.
Yes.
Or when we go out, Global Youth Day, for example, and
yes.
everybody is wearing a T-shirt that says, "Be the sermon." The preacher, if there is a preacher,
yes.
wouldn't necessarily be in any jacket and tie and so on.
Yes.
So it depends also on the setting.
Yes, it does.
Within that culture.
It does depend on the setting. And I'll tell you, last week when we presented the program with the Youth Challenge, the whole day I was in my Youth Challenge T-shirt and the union director was in with it. But when it was time to preach, I said, boy, Ella, I'm sorry, but can't go up there without my jacket. You get what I'm saying? So you have to understand that type of, so the setting is very, very important.
Ella, just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
What if there's a scenario where we invite, for example, Pastor Danny Shelton, the founder of 3ABN?
Yes.
Now, we know Pastor Danny Shelton does not wear tie, period. You
Yes.
never see him in tie.
Yes.
So if you're going to invite him to come to our union to do a presentation or
Yes.
a series, then how would the church approach it? Would you talk to Danny Shelton and say, okay, you have to put on tie, or you send aside the member and say, this man don't wear tie? How would you approach it?
So let me tell you. So the last time he came, let me give an example. The last time he came and I went to a function on Montego Bay, he was in his full suit. Picks up nice and in him suit. However, any speaker that you invite, a speaker that accepts responsible to speak in whatever cultural situation must make inquiry as to what the brethren, what will cause offense, yes or no. That must be clear. However, no one will have a challenge if Danny Shelton had come and preach without his tie, because people are of the understanding. People are of the understanding that certain people in a certain culture operate a certain way. If he comes with poor gold chain on his neck, he's not going to preach. And you know it's going to be, you get what I'm saying? So yes, there are situations where people have the understanding. There are enough of people who have come to present in large gathering and they present without their tie. But that is the understanding. That's the understanding. And most times it is not. It's normally a big gathering, Nick. No, most times. But that's the understanding. But the person who is speaking has a responsibility to find out what is accepted locally. Will this cause offense? And that is it. So if Danny Shelton, for example, knows that if he comes to Jamaica and he's presenting at the arena and the people go, there's a general challenge if he is in his T-shirt, then he's going to put on a tie because he understands. But the speaker must, if you're going somewhere to speak, you must ask. It's very important. What is the local situation? All right, it's important. But nobody will throw a stone on him and say, come on, because you're not in a tie. Yes.
Yes, Elder.
Yeah, Brother Cyril, have
as the question come up.
So we're going to pray shortly.
This past time on Doug Batchelor,
yes,
they do Bible question and answer. The same hot
yes,
question throw at them and he answer it.
Yes.
He said that it is because it's culture. So I was saying, give this scenario that he went to India to preach.
Yes.
And when he went to India, the people, they take off their shoes to go inside the church.
Yes.
Right? And he said because it is not biblical or offended, he said that he take off his shoes and he went inside to preach the word.
Right so.
So as we are saying, there are certain culture, once it don't come in conflict with the word of God, we can comply because we have a job to do.
Yes. And if you have athlete foot and you can't take off your shoes, then that must be properly communicated. And the brethren will understand. You get what I'm saying? It's very important that you don't impose like that.
So what he was saying, they were rolling up the part that Moses have to take off his shoe. Yeah. So people still practice certain things same way.
Yes. yes. All right, so that's it. We have any other hand? Or lost any other point? Of the?
He had his terracotta army.
Yes.
And he make them the tie in the shape of the phylactery.
Yes.
So that all of them will raise together in the resurrection. And this is called terracotta tile. This type of tile.
That's interesting. All right, any other point as we close? Yes. Yes. Go ahead, Brother Bogle.
I was just wondering about the tie and your health. Tie, and your health.
Anybody wearing a tie that is squeezing them and affecting their health is a stupid person. Because if you are going to wear a tie for the purposes of decoration, because a tie is really decoration, for the purpose of decoration, and it's going to squeeze out the daylight out of you, but you're wearing it, you're a stupid person. The same thing goes for a man or a woman. You know, some ladies are wearing church shoes and the shoes so high they can't walk in it. Right. All right. So people are doing this thing, but they're doing this because of the appearance, and it's squeezing the daylight out of you. Yes. So I'm saying, Brother Bogle, if that is the instant a man wearing a tie, that is squeezing them. That's a stupid person. Yes. I mean, you are wearing something that is damaging you, and you consent to do it. You're just foolish. And there's no getting around that. But don't know if our shoes ever burn you, or something you ever put on something and it squeeze you. Man, when you go a town in the bus and the boot, you have to kick off that in the bus and hide it. and hope that you get in another vehicle quickly. But yes, Brother Bogle, if that is the case, that person is not demonstrating wisdom at all. Do not wear things like that for show. Because people wear these things to damage their health just for show, you know. And you know, we're not. There? Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, one final point. What about women who wear high heels to church, these high heel shoes?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see them struggling to walk in these shoes. So How would you address this?
You know, Brother Nick, I was teaching a biology class once, and this lady, she's a non-Adventist, and we came to the part where it was showing that when you wear a high heel shoes, it causes what is called hammer toe. I don't know if you know what it's called, hammer toe. Yes, so your big toe, after a while, gets flat. Then the bones that are here become displaced. And then now, because the high heel shoes changes the center of gravity.
Yes.
After, if you notice people wear high heels tend to be doing that.
Yes.
After a while, start affecting your spinal cord. And it also spoke to the matter of the tight. If the shoes is tight, it also affects your posture.
Yeah.
So I was explaining to her, and they show you the diagram in the book. They show you the heel tilted like this, and show you how the bone is displaced after a while. I mean, if you wear it on one time, probably not when displaced. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a constant wear, then you know you're going to have a problem. So I'm not going to say the ladies can't wear the high heel shoes. But if you notice, most people wear high heel shoes. They wear it from the church, from the taxi to the church, and when they come in, they kick off it, and then wear it back out.
Yes.
So I was explaining to her, this is what it does. So I said to her, so why you wear a high heel boot? And the lady says something I'll never forget. She says, Scott, I wear a high heel that I'm in. Confident, I feel that I am hard. And I never forget that. So, because it creates a certain, what I call it now, a mood, a certain something, air, yes. That's why some people wear. But the wearing of an high heel shoe is a dangerous practice. Dangerous practice. Especially if you are wearing it constantly. Going to misalign your backbone, and it's going to misalign the bones in your toe. So you notice you look, the people keep like this. So what happened? You see, God knows when He was designing you. You had a nice center of gravity, and it's right under your foot there. Once you elevate it like this, changes the center of gravity. So your backbone is shaped like an S. And it is shaped that way because it has better weight-bearing capacity. Now, if it was straight, when you jump, it will be a shock on the straight bone. God really know it. That's why it is designed that way. But once you change the center of gravity, then it starts causing a challenge on it. And after a while, you develop all type of back pain. The womb, for those ladies, yes, the womb is also affected after a while. So it's really advisable that you don't, if you want to wear your high heel boot and feel nice also, but it should not be something that every single day you're gonna work in a high heel boot, you come home in a high heel boot. After a while, it's gonna affect you, your health, seriously. Yes. Anyway, let's pray because you'll keep us here the whole day and night. But let's remember, to whatever we do, let us do all to the glory of God. And impressions are very important when you are a Christian. Let's stand as we pray. Our Father, we thank you for your mercies. We thank you for having been with us in the course of the day. We pray that you'll guide us by your Spirit, that you'll direct our thoughts and our actions. Bless us as we take our journey through the course of this week, and may all things we do bring honor and glory to your name. Keep us in your care, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. We remind us, brothers and sisters, that we still have our Sunday and Wednesday night meetings, and we want you to come out. We really want to come out to the meeting.